Some people are afraid of failing. They worry about making mistakes, being judged, or falling short of expectations. But there is another, quieter fear that often goes unnoticed. It is the fear of succeeding. It sounds strange at first. Why would anyone be afraid of something they work so hard for? Why would someone hesitate right before achieving their goals, procrastinate when opportunities appear, or subconsciously sabotage their own progress? Yet for many people, success feels far more threatening than failure ever did. If this feels familiar, you are not weak, lazy, or broken. You are responding to something deeply rooted in your emotional history. Fear of success is not about lacking ambition. It is about what success represents on a psychological level. It is about identity, belonging, safety, and self-worth. Often, this fear begins early in life. Many people grow up in environments where standing out was risky. Maybe success led to jealousy, criticism, or pressure. Maybe when you did well, people expected more from you, and you learned that achievement came with emotional costs. Instead of feeling celebrated, you felt watched. Instead of feeling proud, you felt responsible for everyone's expectations. Some children learn that being too good creates distance. If you were praised for your intelligence, talent, or discipline, you may also have been subtly isolated. Others might have felt insecure around you. Friends may have withdrawn. Family members may have compared themselves. Without anyone meaning to, you learned that shining too brightly could make you lonely. For others, success was connected to love. Approval came when you performed well. Affection arrived when you achieved something. Over time, you learned that your worth was conditional. You were valued for what you did, not who you were. So success stopped feeling like joy. It became pressure. It became a contract you were afraid to break. Some people grew up in households where ambition was discouraged. Maybe your parents struggled financially, emotionally, or socially, and aiming high was seen as unrealistic or dangerous. You may have heard things like, "Don't get your hopes up," or "People like us don't do that." In those moments, you learned that wanting more was unsafe. You learned to shrink your dreams to stay connected. When these patterns settle into the nervous system, they don't disappear in adulthood. They simply become quieter, more subtle, more confusing. As an adult, fear of success often shows up as procrastination. You may have great ideas, but struggle to finish them. You start projects with passion, then lose momentum right before they could succeed. You delay applying for jobs, submitting work, or putting yourself out there. Not because you don't care, because part of you is scared of what happens if you win. It can also appear as self-sabotage. You might make impulsive decisions when things are going well. You might pick fights, miss deadlines, or overcommit yourself until burnout forces you to stop. On the surface, it looks like bad time management. Underneath, it is an emotional escape hatch, a way to avoid stepping into a bigger version of yourself. Another sign is chronic underachievement. You consistently perform below your potential. You do well enough, but never as well as you could. You stay in comfortable mediocrity, even though you feel restless inside. This is not because you lack talent. It is because success feels emotionally overwhelming. One of the deepest fears behind this pattern is the fear of visibility. Success means being seen. It means people notice you. They have opinions, expectations, projections. When you succeed, you lose a certain kind of anonymity. You can no longer hide in the background. For people who grew up feeling unsafe being emotionally visible, this is terrifying. If you learned that attention led to criticism, ridicule, or emotional withdrawal, your nervous system learned to associate visibility with danger. So when success approaches, your body reacts as if you are walking into a threat. Another powerful factor is identity. Many people build their sense of self around being the struggling one, the underestimated one, the one who hasn't made it yet. This identity feels familiar. It feels predictable. It feels safe. Success threatens that identity. If you succeed, who are you now? If you are no longer the one who is trying, dreaming, or hoping, what story do you tell about yourself? What do you talk about? How do you relate to others? For some people, staying in potential feels safer than stepping into reality. There is also the fear of responsibility. Success brings choices, influence, consequences. When you have more resources, more opportunities, more recognition, your decisions matter more. For people who grew up in chaotic environments, responsibility can feel overwhelming. You learn to survive by staying small and flexible. Power feels heavy, not freeing. Perfectionism often walks hand in hand with fear of success. You may believe that if you succeed, you must never fail again. You imagine that one mistake will erase everything. So instead of risking imperfect success, you choose familiar struggle. At least, struggle feels honest. At least it allows you to breathe. Relationships are another sensitive area. Success changes dynamics. It can create imbalance. Some people fear that if they grow too much, they will outgrow the people they love. They worry about being resented, misunderstood, or left behind. So they unconsciously hold themselves back to preserve emotional harmony. You may notice this especially if you come from a family where loyalty was valued more than self-expression, where standing apart felt like betrayal. In those systems, success can feel like abandonment, even when it isn't. Emotionally, people who fear success often live in quiet conflict. On one side, there is ambition, creativity, and desire. On the other side, there is anxiety, guilt, and doubt. You want more, but you also want safety, and sometimes safety wins. This inner tension can lead to chronic self-criticism. You may call yourself lazy, inconsistent, or undisciplined. You may wonder why you keep getting in your own way. But the truth is, you are not broken. You are protecting yourself the only way you learned how. Your nervous system is trying to keep you in familiar territory. Understanding this changes everything. When you realize that your fear of success is rooted in emotional memory, not personal failure, self-compassion becomes possible. You stop attacking yourself. You start listening. You begin to ask different questions. What do I believe will happen if I succeed? Who do I think I will lose? What parts of myself am I afraid to leave behind? What kind of attention feels unsafe to me? These questions are not meant to shame you. They are invitations to understand your story. Healing begins when you create emotional safety around growth. This means learning to associate success with gentleness instead of pressure, with flexibility instead of perfection, with connection instead of isolation. It means allowing yourself to grow slowly, to experiment, to succeed imperfectly, to redefine what winning looks like for you. It also means grieving old beliefs, letting go of the idea that you must stay small to be loved, releasing the belief that you must earn your worth through struggle, saying goodbye to the identity that protected you once but limits you now. This process takes time. There will be moments when you step forward and then retreat. That is normal. Growth is not a straight line. It is a conversation between courage and fear. You do not need to eliminate fear to succeed. You only need to stop letting it decide for you. You can learn to carry fear gently while still moving forward. You can learn to celebrate progress without demanding perfection. You can learn to let yourself be seen without abandoning yourself. Most importantly, you can learn that success does not mean losing who you are. It means expanding who you are. You are allowed to grow and stay kind. You are allowed to rise and stay connected. You are allowed to succeed and still be human. If you fear success, it does not mean you are weak. It means you care deeply. It means you learned early that growth came with emotional costs. And now, as an adult, you are learning new ways to feel safe in your own becoming. This is brave work. Every time you take a small step forward, every time you resist self-sabotage, every time you choose self-trust over self-doubt, you are rewriting your emotional blueprint. And you don't have to do it perfectly. You only have to keep showing up for yourself, because you deserve a life where your dreams are not something you have to run from. You deserve a life where success feels like home,